Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. I was just thinking about the video that I made yesterday. I just wanted to make, because I noticed there were some people made comments and these comments have been removed. I haven't removed them. I don't know if the person removed them or their account was suspended or YouTube are censoring people making comments. But yeah, I was still confused at the Chris Whitty chart and the actual Table 9 data, which seems to be talking about the same thing. I realised after I picked that 80 because that was the significant one, so I wanted to work that one out. Then I didn't realise that looking at the rest of the data, looking at the rest of the data, there is actually more people non-vaccinated dying than 2 doses deaths. No, so this is presenting. No, this is presenting to emergency care, not death. Sorry, because it's got here. So I was just you see how this is. Even me, I was genuinely just trying to talk about that 80 because that was the one that was the big discrepancy. So I was trying to work that one out. But by doing that, I missed the rest of it, which obviously people watching it may have been saying, yeah, but what about under 18? There were 578 that went to hospital, but only 7 of the who had 2 doses. Of course, there would be a lot less under 18, so that you'd expect that. But even so, if you've got 18 to 29, there's 272 not vaccinated that went to emergency care, only 166 with 2 doses, and 30 to 39 was 555 not vaccinated, 287 vaccinated. 40 to 49 was 580 not vaccinated, 491 second dose, so that's not too different. 50 to 59, 619 non-vaccinated were admitted to emergency care, 687, so it was higher for the 2 dose there. That one was higher. 60 to 69, 499 non-vaccinated, 713 vaccinated, fully vaccinated, 713. So yeah, you see how you can pick different age groups and get different. You can create a different impression. So, but what I don't understand is how the data on Chris Whitty's slide, where it's rate per 100, seems to differ. And I'm wondering, because I was reading through how they get the information from NIMS, from ONS, and this, that, and the other. Are they actually using some kind of estimate thing, or are they actually using raw data? Because that could cause the differentiation. And the only other thing I think of is, are they measuring when they're trying to make the rates per 100? Is that where the problem's coming? Because there's obviously a lot more people vaccinated than unvaccinated, and they're comparing that percentage of that vaccinated against the ones that are getting in hospital, and therefore it may create the flip of it. But the problem is with that is if you did that figure and you see the raw data, and the raw data says that 931 people over 80 had been in emergency care and only 261 non-vaccinated, and when you do the calculations, you then come out with Chris Whitty's slide, which was at 200 over 80 per 100,000, and under 50, the is completely different, and therefore it could be misleading, because it's not actually because in the raw data it's showing you actually for 80 and over, more people went into emergency care of the actual population, of the actual figures, the raw data, who were vaccinated. But this shows you the other way around. It makes it out that unvaccinated people were more coming into the hospital. But I think it's because, I think that's it. They're using, because this is the raw data used to help understand the implications of the pandemic. The raw data not used to assess vaccine effectiveness. But I think that's what they're doing. They're using, because there's so many people who've been vaccinated, and that's 931. They're saying that 931 out of the 90% of people who've been vaccinated means that's only under 50. So is that what they're doing? I would love, when Chris Whitty does his next briefing, I'll try and put that question to him. The problem is he might not answer it because it's past data, but that's the only explanation I can have to why the data doesn't match. But the problem is with that is that's not showing you the true figure. It's showing you the true figure if you count the whole population. But the problem is when people look at that, they're not seeing. They're seeing this as actual data. They're not seeing this as some kind of formulation or a calculation based on the amount of people totally vaccinated by the amount of people unvaccinated by those data to get that figure. That may be why in table, what was it on this table, which is where I think they get it from, table 11, it shows 34.9. 34.9, is that percent? And what's the notes below? The notes below are comparing rates of vaccinated vaccines should not be used to estimate vaccine efficiency. The routes are calculated per 100,000 in people who have received either 2 doses of a COVID vaccination or in people who have not received a COVID vaccination. These figures are updated each week as the number of unvaccinated individuals and individuals vaccinated with 2 doses of the population changes. Cases rates are calculated using NIMS, a database of named individuals from which the numerator and the denominator come from the same source, and there is a record of each individual vaccination status. Further information of use of NIMS as a source of denominator data is presented on page 34 of this report. Page 34, what's on page 34? Denominators. Yeah, so that's probably where it's, and you see, by using that data set, they're not lying, and I guess they would probably claim they're not misleading because they're saying they're looking at the whole population and showing it that way. That's why they're using the rate per 100,000. But to me, the problem is then when people see raw data and the raw data says the opposite in that one case, then that's going to make people suspicious. And I don't know, if it was me, I would be using only raw data, not doing any of this, because it's per 100, it's trying to create an image, and it's, in this case, I think it's misleading. So to me, it'd be much better. And if you want people to trust you, and with this thing, obviously there is a problem with trust because people don't trust governments because of historical reasons and lots of reasons, and they don't want to put toxins in their bodies that they believe have probably been pushed through quicker than normal. Because you've got to think, like, this vaccination came within less than a year, and I mean, they haven't cured cancer or HIV that quickly, and they've never had a vaccine for a coronavirus, and they've never bothered, have they? So we've learned there that that's the problem when, from my perspective, how I could mislead people by picking on one particular part of the data set and using that as my argument, whereas, yes, for that argument it is true. The raw data doesn't match what Chris Whitty's saying, but they're using some kind of calculation which has unfortunately come up with the opposite figure. But that's where you've got to be it'd be very nice if they could actually, the problem is people wouldn't watch, that's the thing, isn't it? If they actually put that report on TV, because then you could read like how they do it, when they're using calculations, what calculations, from where, what they're counting and how they're counting it. So then people will turn off, isn't it? And by the time you've read it all out, no one's going to be watching to see the actual figures. So they're simplifying it. But at least they are giving this data so that everyone can actually, if they can be bothered, can have a look at it and actually see, oh yeah. But it seems to be a bit of a mix. The argument that unvaccinated people are the majority of people in hospitals based on that data doesn't seem to bore out. What about deaths? I didn't check. Because it seems to be like half-half. It's like there's people that are vaccinated and there's people non-vaccinated that are going there. And like I say as well, when they say non-vaccinated, is a non-vaccinated person someone who's only had one vaccination? Or is it truly the person who's had none? Because they don't seem to be, well, I think it is unvaccinated, but with deaths, because I only concentrated on 80, because this is the slide they're not showing, for obvious reasons, because they don't want people to think that, people are dying who are being vaccinated, because people are not going to understand that this vaccination is 60% to 80% effectiveness, and it all depends whether it catches. That's why you have to have it twice, and some people's immune systems may not catch it because no one's testing whether they actually do get the immune response. They're just giving it to them and hoping they get that immune response. And obviously different ages and lots of other variations can play parts in this. But yeah, when it comes to table, is it 10, which is 28 days deaths from birth certificates, this non-vaccinated eye concentrated on 1,055 and 241. So under 18, non-vaccinated 3, vaccinated 1, 18 to 29, non-vaccinated 9, vaccinated 4, 30 to 39, 43 non-vaccinated, 9 vaccinated deaths, 40 to 49 non-vaccinated, 60, 46 for second dose. So yeah, it seems to be that actually the rest of these figures, 50 59 non-vaccinated 116, 112 2 dose. If you add the 1 dose, that's 122 because it's 10. 66 9 141 non-vaccinated deaths, 298 second dose deaths. So there's more. 70 79 169 non-vaccinated deaths, 525. So at the younger age, people who are vaccinated not dying. At the older age, people that are vaccinated are still dying. Probably because it's your immune system and your age that's actually the effect there. And obviously younger people's immune systems are better. I mean, in a blind study, I'm wondering, like with the vaccine, if you did this same thing but actually didn't give anyone, gave everyone placebo, I wonder whether you get the same kind of results, because obviously younger people would be less likely to die, and older people would be more likely to die with diseases that affect lungs. Like every year we get the flu pandemic that gives people that they get pneumonia and then they die because of the flus in the winter and the cold months. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've taken the vaccine because I guess I'm trusting them. I don't have any of the data to actually make that argument soundly. It's easy when Boris Johnson and people like that say, oh, people are anti-vaxxers completely wrong. We can't make such a sweeping statement. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them are. A lot of them, like I say, shock jock and YouTube people that just want to make money and etc. But I'm sure there are people that are actually researching the data that may have medical backgrounds that are going through it. So I think you have to be careful of making a proper argument. You can't just dismiss something just because you don't want it to be that case. Because you have to take everything on its merit. Some professor of medicine may have gone through all this, someone who's worked in vaccines and gone through it and say, well, I don't think it does work because I don't see the results proving that the vaccine is the actual reason why people are safe. It's actually because their immune system is doing it anyway. And this is just maybe assisting a little bit. I don't know. But I'm not saying I don't want to sway anyone. I'm taking the vaccine. I would suggest people take the vaccine. Well, it's not my place to actually suggest what other people do because it's up to you. It's your body. Although we do live in a system where we've given that away. But yeah, I took it because I don't want to be the one that didn't take it and then you end up dying because you didn't take it, and if you'd taken it you would have lived. So yeah, it's basically fear that is the cause for me to take the vaccine, not actually any research that I've done. I mean, I shouldn't, just because someone comes in a white coat and tells me this is good and this, that and the other, well, that's exactly like trusting an anti-vaxxer on YouTube just saying this, that and the other. I mean, really, you have to be presented with data, but the problem is no one would watch that. If they did, if they had some actual person who actually went through the actual, well, a lot of people probably wouldn't understand it, including me, because we don't have the medical knowledge. Yeah, it's a very difficult subject, but I don't think that we should be forcing people. This Novak Djokovic thing I think it's going to cause a big problem for both sides, because it seems a bit strict the way that they're detaining someone just because they don't want a vaccine. I'm sure, I don't know if Serbia and Australia, are they forcing people to have vaccination? If they're not forcing people to have vaccination, why are they detaining people? I don't know, but maybe this has all been created to aid the vaccination movement, so that they can turn around and say, make sure you get vaccinated or you're going to be detained, or they're going to try and make a story out of this. But I don't know. But just what I'm trying to say is, like, even I use the statistics. Well, I didn't purposely try to mislead. I was just picking that one because it was the 80, and I noticed that one was the bigger difference. But you see how it is possible to the both sides of the story aspect, which is there is no both sides of the story. There's only one side, the truth. So, but you can pick different truths to get your message, your agenda, and that's what happens in politics. That's what happens in life, in debate, and etc. You can pick a certain part, and then you can extrapolate from that, and then make a case for it. And if you're convincing, people will believe you. Doesn't necessarily make it true. So I guess what I'm saying is that we all really should be checking. It's easy just to check someone else doing it, but we all personally should be checking the data that's presented to us and then challenging it. See, if I put a question to when the Prime Minister was 5 p.m. briefing, he may ignore me because I'm only one person. But if all of us look at the data and assess it, and we think individually that, oh no, this doesn't make sense, and we individually ask that question, then the more of us that do that, the more that we can, someone just fell over upstairs, the more that we can get this point answered or clarified. Maybe there is an easy reason for this differentiation. But of course, until we all take charge of our own lives, by making our voice heard, that's the main thing. This is what a lot of us don't do. We moan on YouTube or we moan to each other, but there's a channel for moaning to government. We need to use it a lot more. When there's something wrong, we should be flagging it up, each one of us, because if we don't, then we're just accepting everything as it is. And then, well, I guess they can say, well, no one said anything. Take care, to either go west. Peace.